So is Trump moving from president to king or emperor of America? Check this out. Leave your comments, dig the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. We now know that he will politicize anything, right? He stands in front of the wall at the CIA with the stars with no names of the CIA officers and agents who have died in the field, you know, in service to their country, but their names can't be revealed because it's still a secret. He stands in front of that wall at an anniversary, as I recall. I forget the exact circumstances, but an anniversary of the death of one of these people, something that has to do with it was a solemn occasion. He stands in front of that wall and goes off on a riff about how the Democrats don't like America. He politicizes everything. So, I mean, he talks to the troops. You're not supposed to talk politics to the military. It's against the law to begin with, and it's certainly against military policy, but Trump does it. He goes and he talks to the troops and he trashes Democrats. And the so-called Democrat Party, which I don't know what country that exists in. Here in the United States, it's called the Democratic Party. But in any case, so, you know, what Trump wants to do on Tuesday in his State of the Union address is he wants to get up and say, well, the Democrats tried their best. They took their shot and they missed. And, you know, if you're going to take on the king, you better kill the king, is the old metaphor from, I believe, from Shakespeare. And you know, he's basically going to say they didn't kill me politically. And so now, Claudius, now we have an actual dictatorship. I will become the new dictator. I no longer have to worry about what Congress is going to do. I can't be held accountable by the Justice Department or any state prosecutor, because as president, I can't be indicted, I can't be charged, I can't be arrested, and he's saying he can't even be investigated. And yes, his attorneys actually argued before the Supreme Court, no, actually it was before a circuit court, that if Donald Trump had killed somebody while in office, that the investigation would have to wait until after he was no longer president, which he's trying to make sure is going to be 5 years from now. For the obvious reason, he wants to stay out of jail, among other things. So what happened yesterday? Well, actually, what's happening today, there's some real scurrying around going on because of John Bolton's book. John Bolton's book, of course, says that Bolton actually heard Trump. I mean, Trump actually said this to him, that, you know, the $391 million in security assistance for Ukraine was being held until Ukraine turns over documents relating to Biden's and Democrats, and there were actually other Democrats, I guess, and proof that it wasn't Russia who hacked the DNC, it was Ukraine. And the reason that Bolton's book is a problem is if you look at the legal brief that the Republicans, the Republican lawyers in this trial before the Senate submitted to the Senate just last week. The brief, item 4 in their brief, the headline is, House Democrats rely solely on speculation built on hearsay. Now, hearsay is one step away from, you know, first-person testimony. In other words, if somebody actually hears the president say, I want Zelensky to investigate Biden and I'm going to hold up the money until he does. Somebody actually hears him say that, that's first-person witness testimony. Now, Sondland came close to that, but as the Republican lawyers yesterday argued repeatedly, Sondland said, that was my speculation, that was my conclusion, that was the obvious conclusion. He couched his assertions with these kind of weasel words. So everybody who has testified about this, they testify about how it happened, where it happened, when it happened, who was involved with it. But actually hearing Donald Trump, like, you know, stand up on the Resolute desk or mount a podium somewhere and do you know, like the bad guys from a Superman or a Batman movie, you know, the evil guy. I, Dr. Evil, have put this plan together because it's going to take down my opponents and for all time. You know, nobody has said they actually heard Trump say that yet, until Bolton. So item 4 of the legal brief that was submitted says, quote, not a single witness with actual knowledge ever testified that the president suggested any connection between announcing investigations and security assistance. I think the question that all this raises is, will Trump get away with all this? And if so, and this is the real problem, and I'm going to get to, you know, what their new strategy is today in just a minute, but they've got a whole, they're doubling and tripling down on how to figure this out, how to have Bolton taken care of, right? How to get this problem of Bolton's book out of the way, and they actually have a strategy for this. But first, I just want to finish this kind of thought here. Back, and this Judd Legum put these together in his newsletter today at popular.info, and it's just great. Senator John Cornyn, back on December 23rd, about 4 weeks ago, tweeted, no quid pro quo, therefore the Democratic grounds for ousting Trump are weak. Senator Ted Cruz, 2 weeks ago on Hannity, said, quid pro quo allegations are hearsay from, quote, people who have no direct evidence and witnesses who never even met President Trump. And that would be, you know, like, you know, Ambassador Hill and like that. And Jim Inhofe, Republican from Oklahoma, he says the major problem with the case against Trump is not one of the witnesses was a first-hand witness. Well, Bolton is, see? And even a bunch of the Republicans in the House, you know, Doug Collins tweeted, there's zero quid pro quo. That was in September. Mark Meadows told reporters, what we do know is that there's definitely no quid pro quo. Right? Again, they're all arguing, no first-person testimony. Jody Hice of Georgia tweeted, no quid pro quo, no pressure. Congressman Jim Jordan tweeted, it's been very clear, no quid pro quo. So now Bolton comes out and says, yeah, there's a quid pro quo, and I was there, and I heard it from the president's own lips. So what does Trump say? Bolton's a liar. He tweeted yesterday, I never told John Bolton that the aid to Ukraine was tied to investigations into Democrats, including the Bidens. And then a few hours later, he tweeted again. He says, there's no way in the world, excuse me, this is Giuliani a couple hours later, tweets, there's no way in the world President Trump would say this to John Bolton. Right. Right. So what they're trying to do, actually, you know, by accusing Bolton of being a liar, as Judd Legum points out, these guys are actually making the case for Bolton's testimony. And that vote will probably come at the end of this week. It comes, what's happening right now is today is the summary day. You know, the president's lawyers are summarizing their arguments. And then, assuming the day continues, they will go to questions. And they've got 16 hours where individual senators can submit questions, and the impeachment managers from the House, you know, the Democrats in the House or the president's lawyers will answer those questions. And we don't know yet exactly how that's going to be moderated. Who decides what questions? There's obviously going to be a lot more questions than there is time to even ask them, much less answer them. And we're not sure who's filtering that. If I find out, I'll let you know. I haven't seen a good summary of that anywhere. And in fact, I saw on TV this morning, somebody had asked one of the senators that specific question. And the answer was, I don't know. Meanwhile, you know, Mitch McConnell is trying to do this quick trial so that he can, you know, as I said before, they want to get this wrapped up before February 4th so that Trump can, in his State of the Union address, claim that he won. And by the way, let me just note the consequences of Trump winning. If it is true that a president cannot be investigated, indicted, or prosecuted while he's in office, then the only way that a president can be held to account for crimes he commits while he's president is through impeachment. But if Trump is not impeached when there's clear evidence of crimes, in this case bribery and extortion, if Trump is not removed from, well, he's been impeached. If he's not removed from office, to be more precise with my language, then what that says is to every future president, don't worry, you have absolute power, as long as your party controls the Senate, or controls more than half of the Senate, or even controls enough of the Senate that you can prevent a 2/3 vote, because that's what it takes to remove somebody. You don't even have to actually control the Senate. All you have to do is control more than 1/3 of it. And that means we've turned the presidency into a monarchy, into a dictatorship, essentially.